Hi, this is Amy Allison Taylor. I'm very excited to share with you a new healing technique that I've developed and I've been using with my clients to great effect, especially around PTSD or any trauma issues. So I'm so excited about it because I've seen really wonderful effects, and I want to offer it for free on YouTube and invite you to, if you do the series and feel a good effect from it, to invite your friends and folks that have PTSD to give it a try and see if it helps them, because that's such a terrible thing to get re-triggered and re-triggered again and again around the same trauma and never be able to heal that trauma. And this healing is designed to clear those thought fields, these like mats of re-traumaing and re-traumaing, they get so thick that you can't ever get to the actual original trauma, which traumas normally get stored on like one half of the brain. Like if somebody's going into a trauma state and they've got an EEG cap on them, the activity will be all on one side, and the brain's not actually doing that wonderful alpha crossover that it needs to do in order to process it and come to a place of peace around the trauma. And then when you get all these pain layers on top of that, like it's just almost impossible to get back to that peace. So in thinking about that, I created a series of healings to get at different mats of trauma, and it's kind of separated into several different pieces. And so I'm going to be offering this on YouTube with I'll just sing a different song for each one, and the singing is healing, but it's really, the singing is more for me to stay focused and for you to stay focused. It's about focus, and then it's the Reiki healing that's actually doing the dissolving of the thought fields, the morphic fields that have developed around your particular trauma. So this first one will be focusing on trauma around where you've literally disassociated, like, separated part of yourself, a hard compartmentalization to where you're not able to access different parts of yourself, and those parts are not talking to each other. We're not going to go into the trauma. That's the beauty of this healing. You don't go into the trauma. You simply focus on getting rid of the thought fields that are making it so difficult for you to even think about going, looking at the trauma. And then what I've been discovering with different clients is that if you get rid of all those mats of re-pain, then your body can do what it's always wanted to do, which is actually process, do the alpha crossover at night when you're sleeping. That's the goal, right? That you're going to process it in this normal way that never happened because of the way it got stored in your brain. So that's the theory around it. I may actually be doing something other than what I think I'm doing, but the effect is pretty brilliant. So as far as people feeling better and being able to process and get beyond a certain crisis in their life or different pain issues in their life. So let's try it. So basically I'm just going to be singing at you and sending Reiki at you with the intent of clearing thought fields, of re-triggering around specific areas. And so the first one is disassociation. The second is repressed memories. And again, we don't go into the repressed memories at all. We just clear all the fear fields that have developed around protecting those repressed memories. And you'll process them, hopefully. Your goal is in your sleep, after we've gotten rid of some of the layers of pain, so that it's not such a painful process when you sleep. And just to give you an idea, one of my clients reported, somebody who has terrible PTSD reported waking up in the middle of the night with a nightmare, but that normally would trigger her horribly. And it was a man attacking her, that kind of thing. And she went, "Oh, look, I'm processing in my sleep. How cool," right? Went to the bathroom, went back to bed, fell asleep. Which is impossible with PTSD, right? That doesn't happen, right? So she just acknowledged that her brain was processing it, but it wasn't actually a nightmare. It was simply a processing dream for her, which is what doesn't happen, which is why PTSD continues, why the brain just continues to spin, trying to heal itself. So that's what you can expect. And I'll go through the layers again. So it's the first one will be focusing on layers around disassociated parts, and then the second one is repressed. The third one is suppressed, which is suppressed memories, meaning that you still have access to them, but they, you tend to avoid them. And then the next one is associated memories, which is huge as far as, once you start trying to stay away or protect certain parts of yourself, then, certain things that you associate in your life, like, say going to a party and somebody starts talking about their mother passing or something, and that's something you can't go to, then suddenly you may have like an aversion to parties and you don't even quite remember when that developed, but it's an associated memory around protecting that pain. So that can be pretty dense. And then the next one is simply working with the trauma pieces itself, which to me as an empath, it feels like wires that have been pulled too tight and they haven't quite cut off, but they're sparking and they're not right. And so this is just helping that crossover again to happen, kind of fixing the electrical signaling that needs to happen. And then what is the last piece I'm forgetting? It's looping thoughts. So it's like there becomes this habit and a field around the looping thoughts, because that's what it's doing. It's like why, and it doesn't have that you don't have the access to the other part of the brain that could actually answer that. And so these thoughts go round and round and round. And so for me, in that one, it's like I'm taking those thoughts and like connecting them up and down so that they, so that you've got full access to your auric flow, basically. And that seems to quiet them down and allow the brain to process. So that's the series, and I've chosen a different song for each one, just simple songs about love. They're very, I'll repeat them sometimes as many as 10 times. And it's a little different for everyone. Like some people, maybe they really, really only need the healing for like 3 choruses, and other people it'd be like 15. And so I'm going to go somewhere like in the middle, like around 10 for each section. And so if you feel like you hadn't fully completed that, then just replay the video and do that again. Or if you feel like I'm there now, right, then you can stop it and go to the next section. Does that make sense? So, so this first one, I'm just going to sing a really, really simple song. All of them are fairly simple. And what I'd like you to do as I send Reiki to you and sing to you is I want you to see if you can be in a fairly happy place with good energetic flow happening. And so how do you do that? Well, first of all, I'm just going to give you some visuals and some things to do to keep yourself in that place. Right? So that's just an exercise that'll sort of drop you into a good flowing place. And this is good to do anytime, actually. I call this the Reiki willow. So I want you to see yourself as a willow tree. The trunk goes down your trunk, and you root through your feet and through your seat deep into the earth. And there's actually a couple of chakras below your feet. And then you go through those chakras down deep into the molten center of the earth and connect to everyone else on the planet. So that's where we connect at the molten center. And those lower chakras, the major chakras, are usually seen as warm colors. So you can kind of get that sense of connecting to the molten lava there. So that's your rooting, and that comes from the stomach, which is even above the navel. You want to root that high. So the solar plexus chakra, the yellow chakra, is above the navel, and that roots down. It needs to root down. So you relax your stomach and connect down. Okay. And then the lifting, so you've got the tree rooted, now you need to lift your branches, right? So from the heart chakra up, all those upper chakras connect up through a series of transpersonal points, white chakras above your head, and then possibly to what some people would say your oversoul, and then beyond that to what we don't know, God, source, whatever, we can't quite conceive of it. But all of this upper, starting from the heart, needs to lift and connect up. So see if you can have that sense as you envision yourself as a tree. You're very much lifted and you're very much rooted. And you can even add some breathing into it, where you breathe as though as you're focusing up. You can add in the hands with it, moving up through each chakra, and breathe in. It's like you're saying hello to Source, I love you, and then breathing in love back. You hold it in your heart, and then as you breathe out, let it go to every part of your body. Now breathe in from below, take your hands down through each of the lower chakras, and then open your hands up to Mother Earth, right, to the creation, and say, I love you, and breathe in love back. Bring it up to the heart, hold it for a second, and then as you release, it goes with the oxygen to every part of your being. So let's do a couple of those. So you're going to breathe in from above and bring it into the heart and release to all the cells in your body. And then take your hands down, open them up to Mother Earth. Breathe in love, bring it back up to your heart and release. And one more time. And bring it in and release. And take it down. And bring it up and release. Okay, so you can do that breathing with the hands or without. Just imagine breathing in, releasing, breathing up, releasing as your hands are here. You can do it that way too, or add in the hands however you feel led while I'm singing to you. You can also add in this piece of, I want you to think of 3 things that you love that make you feel joyful. Just 3 simple things, because people are complicated, right? So it may be hard for you to completely and entirely unequivocally put your mother here, right? But you could think, I love my mother's laugh. I love how kind she is. I love that time on my birthday when she sent me the cake, when I was away at camp. Something like that, something very specific. And then you can take those memories and those thoughts that you love and hold them here to your heart, right? And that warms you up. You can also do really simple things, simply like, sunlight through leaves, or walking on the beach. Or I love my dog unequivocally, so I can put my dog here, nothing complicated about that, right? And that just warms me up. And so it's like you're cuddling these things to your heart, right? It should give you a little bit of that, wiggle, like, oh, I just love life. It's great. And you're going to send those things through the heart to the pranic center, the column at the center of your being, and just try to warm that up. So that's what you can do while I'm singing to you, is just keep thinking of beautiful things and placing them in your hands and holding them here. And every now and then you may want to switch which hand is on top as you hold them there, because that helps with that alpha crossover too, actually getting the right and the left side of you working. Yeah, you can switch hands. If you find that as much as you try, nothing warms you up, that's okay. Just know that the healing needs to happen so that you can feel that again. And so there's something, so just stick with it and go through the whole series, doing your best to think of things that make you feel joyful, and see if you don't feel like you can do that towards the end of the series, of the scrub is what I'm calling it. It's an energetic scrub, just getting rid of these layers and layers of scarring that are over the original issue. Okay. So let's start with that. Go ahead and think of 3 things that you love. Place them in your hands. Place them next to your heart. Cuddle them to your heart. Breathe in from above. And release. Breathe up from below. And release. And continue doing that as we go into the scrub series. I'm going to stop this video, which is just the introduction, and then each of the pieces, I'll label them for what they are, and 1, 2, 3, what you should follow as far as directionally, and I'll just go right into the song with each of them without an explanation. So, okay. I'm really excited that you're watching this video and that you get a chance to do this healing, because it can be profound and life-changing. I'll add just one little piece, is that it can also feel a little disorienting the first couple of days, especially if you've got a lot of associated issues and resistant issues. I found that I didn't realize how avoidant I was until I did this cleanse. And then suddenly I couldn't motivate to do anything. And I was like, why? And it's, well, because I didn't have all these fears that were motivating me. So normally, looking back now, I can see that my days were like, oh, I better do that or I'm going to get in trouble, or I've got to call him back or he's going to be pissed off at me. And that was how I was ordering my day, was not getting into trouble. And then when I cleared this, it was sort of like, I don't have any fears about getting into trouble. I don't even know how to decide how to prioritize my day. So I was kind of like in a daze for a few days until it sort of normalized for me, and then I could start developing the skills I guess I'd never developed around actually prioritizing based on something other than fear. So that's the kind of thing that you might experience, some dreams, as I talked about, that shouldn't be traumatizing. They should just be processing dreams. And then just kind of a shame, like, wow, I'm not sure who I am. I'm different than I was. So, okay, who do I think I am? And then starting a new way of being, which can, it feels good, but it can also be a little bit, you just don't have the skills. Like I said, I didn't have the skills to prioritize without fear motivating me. So that was a big shift. So those are some of the things that you can expect. All right. Yay. I'm so glad you're here. And namaste. And let's start on this journey together with the first video, which is on releasing thought fields around disassociated parts. Okay. Namaste.